The Rise and Rise of Edwin Sifuna, February 11, 2026. Inside a conference room in Mombasa, one of Kenya's most powerful opposition parties is preparing to turn on one of its own. The Orange Democratic Movement's National Executive Committee makes its decision. Edwin Sifuna is removed as Secretary General, effective immediately. His deputy, Catherine Omanio, is appointed to take over. Sifuna is finished. At least, that is what they think. Because he doesn't know it yet. But his removal is not the end of his political story. It is the moment a much bigger battle begins. Just 8 years earlier, Edwin Sifuna was hardly a threat to anyone in Kenya's political establishment. Now he has become a problem the leadership of his own party can no longer contain. Act 1. The Outsider. Kakamega County, Western Kenya, 1982. Edwin Watnia Sifuna is born into an ordinary family. His father works in the civil service. His mother is a teacher. There is no political dynasty behind him, no inherited fortune, no powerful family network waiting to open doors. He chooses law. Sifuna graduates from the University of Nairobi in 2006 and is admitted to the role of advocate 2 years later. He develops a reputation as a fierce courtroom advocate, intelligent, aggressive, and capable of controlling a room. Then, in 2017, he makes his first serious attempt to enter elective politics. It goes badly. He is defeated during the ODM primaries in his home constituency. He then loses the Nairobi Senate contest, receiving 674,056 votes against 811,826. For most politicians, 2 defeats in the same election cycle might signal the end. For Sifuna, they become a detour. Instead of walking away, he moves deeper into the political machine. More importantly, he remains close to Raila Odinga, the veteran opposition leader who had dominated Kenya's opposition politics for decades. That relationship changes his future. In February 2018, ODM appoints Sifuna as its Secretary General, replacing Ababu Namwamba. He is only 36. Suddenly, the former electoral loser is responsible for running the daily affairs of one of Kenya's most influential political parties, managing its organization, enforcing its internal discipline, and serving as one of its most visible public voices. And that is when the story really begins. Act 2. When the mouthpiece becomes the problem. In 2022, Sifuna goes back to the voters. This time, they choose him. He wins the Nairobi Senate seat with 716,876 votes, transforming himself from a party operative into an elected politician with his own mandate. Now he holds 2 sources of influence: the authority of a senior party official and the legitimacy of an elected senator. Then the political ground beneath him shifts. In March 2025, ODM enters into a formal cooperation agreement with President William Ruto's government. It is a remarkable development. A party built around opposition to the establishment is now formally cooperating with the government it had spent years fighting. Sifuna refuses to completely accept the new arrangement. He publicly distances himself from the deal and describes removing Ruto from office as a national objective. He launches a movement called Kenya Moja, promising that Ruto will not remain president beyond 1 term, while continuing to occupy one of the most senior positions inside the very party cooperating with Ruto. His criticism of the government grows sharper. That creates an extraordinary contradiction. Sifuna is officially one of the party's most senior administrators. Unofficially, he has become one of its most outspoken critics of the government. Pressure inside ODM begins to build. Some party figures start questioning whether he should remain in office. But there is one person who continues to protect him: Raila Odinga. Speaking in Kakamega on July 25, 2025, Raila defends Sifuna as the party's spokesperson and insists that members should be free to express their views. As long as Raila remains alive, Sifuna still has protection at the very top. Then that protection disappears. Act 3. The death that changed the balance of power. October 15, 2025. Raila Odinga, aged 80, dies in India after suffering cardiac arrest. Sifuna is among those on the emergency flight sent to bring Raila's body back to Kenya. Cameras capture him grieving openly. He has lost more than a political ally. He has lost the man who stood between him and his enemies inside ODM. the political consequences become visible almost immediately. Within a day, the party installs Raila's younger brother, Oburu Oginga, as interim leader. Sifuna objects. He argues that the party's constitution requires a different process and says he was shocked to discover that Oburu had already been appointed before the procedure he expected had taken place. Then comes Raila's burial in Bondo. According to Sifuna, senior party officials are denied opportunities to speak. He also points to another symbolic break with the past. Raila's coffin is not covered in ODM party colors, despite the tradition that had accompanied other party funerals. For Sifuna, these details carry a deeper meaning. The man who helped build his political career is gone, and without Raila, the political structure that once protected him is beginning to turn against him. Act 4. The removal and the counterattack. February 11, 2026. The NEC decision becomes official. Sifuna is removed as ODM Secretary General and loses his position in the Senate leadership. In a matter of days, he has lost both of the institutions that gave him political leverage. But he refuses to accept the decision. Instead, he takes the fight to the political party's disputes tribunal. For the next 4 months, the dispute drags through the legal system. Then comes the breakthrough. On June 18, 2026, the tribunal rules in Sifuna's favor, finding that ODM violated his right to a fair hearing. His removal is declared invalid. For a moment, it appears that Sifuna has done the impossible. He has forced one of Kenya's most powerful political organizations to retreat. But the victory comes with an important qualification. The tribunal does not prevent ODM from taking disciplinary action again. It simply says the party must follow the correct procedure. ODM gets another opportunity. And it takes it. On July 9, 2026, the Registrar of Political Parties confirms that the party has complied with the legal requirements. Sifuna's removal becomes official, and the party's records are changed accordingly. After 8 years at the center of ODM, he is out. The machine he helped operate has finally removed him from its ranks. Act 5. What happens now? But even before the legal battle fully ended, speculation had already begun about Sifuna's next move. Reports emerge that he and his allies are considering the creation of a new political party ahead of the 2027 general election. And then comes the most ambitious possibility of all. Sifuna himself could seek the presidency. It would be a remarkable transformation. For 8 years, he served as the man enforcing the political machinery behind another leader's presidential ambitions. Now, he could be preparing to pursue the presidency in his own name. There is also an intriguing parallel in Kenya's recent political history. William Ruto, the same president Sifuna has spent years campaigning against, was once part of the ODM movement himself before his relationship with Raila Odinga collapsed around 2010. Ruto was pushed aside. Instead of disappearing, he built another political vehicle and eventually made it to State House. By the end of July 2026, Sifuna is increasingly signaling that his future may lie completely outside ODM. The man who was rejected by voters twice in 2017 eventually became the administrator of one of Kenya's most powerful opposition parties. He spent 8 years rising through its ranks. He was protected by its most powerful leader. Then that leader died. His allies turned on him. He fought back through the courts. He briefly won. And ultimately, he lost his position anyway. But something has changed. Edwin Sifuna is no longer simply an official inside someone else's political machine. He is now an independent political force, one that may be capable of building something the old establishment never expected. And in Kenyan politics, that can be the most dangerous position of all.